Today on Investigate TV Plus, the U.S. is facing a healthcare emergency, a shortage of doctors. I'm T. Chappelle.
And I'm Lee Zurich. Our investigation reveals many experienced physicians willing to practice in the U.S. can't.
We're missing out on talent and bringing care to our patients.
We uncover how strict rules and high costs could also impact you.
Plus, new technology rooting out cavities.
We've got a pretty large cavity over here.
How the healthcare industry is using artificial intelligence to fill a gap in patient care.
It's not telling us what to do, it's just giving us some guidelines.
And breast cancer survivors showing their strength.
We work on increasing strength, posture, mobility, core stability, decreasing feelings of fear and anxiety, as well as pain and swelling.
How this exercise program is helping women heal after their biggest battles. In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus.
America has a doctor shortage, a problem that's only expected to get worse in the future. The Association of American Medical Colleges estimates by 2034, there could be a shortfall of as many as 124,000 physicians in both primary and specialty care. At the same time, there are currently thousands of doctors and medical students in the U.S. who were trained in a foreign country but are not allowed to practice medicine in America.
Investigative reporter Kristen Crowley examines how the lack of physicians is affecting Americans and how some states are exploring ways to solve the shortfall.
All his life, Bilal Waq knew what he wanted to be.
It was a big dream for me to become a doctor and help people.
A dream he was well on his way to completing.
So that's you.
That's me, yeah. I was the first in my class.
Bilal was more than halfway through med school in Afghanistan.
I really wanted to become a surgeon. So,
In August 2021, he and 5 family members were part of the emergency evacuation out of Afghanistan as the Taliban took over.
Worst day of my life. It was a chaos at the airport, shooting all around.
But Bilal was grateful, not just to escape safely, but to find out they were headed to a place he knew as the land of opportunity, the United States.
I thought I can start my medical career again.
But that wasn't the case. Since Bilal had no advanced warning of his evacuation, he wasn't able to get any of his med school records. Becoming a doctor would mean starting schooling all over again, which he was willing to do, but he couldn't afford it.
And then I said, okay, it's not possible then.
So your dreams of becoming a doctor ended when you came to the United States?
Yes.
And he's not the only one. The United States has strict rules for becoming a doctor, even for those who have graduated med school. Foreign-trained doctors must complete a U.S. residency training program, which takes 3 years, regardless of their experience.
We're talking about experienced physicians, often with many, many years of experience, who are unable to practice here.
Why is it so difficult?
So it's difficult because the way current law is, there's no real pathway for physicians to practice unless they have to repeat their residency requirement.
Amy Grunder works with the MIRA Coalition, which stands for the Massachusetts Immigrant and Refugee Advocacy Coalition. For years, it's advocated for the United States to ease restrictions on foreign-trained doctors. She says repeating the residency requirement not only takes years, but it's expensive and competitive. Grunder says the restrictions are hurting Americans who face longer waits for healthcare due to a doctor shortage.
In some cases, there's a wait time for new appointments of as long as 8 months.
The Association of American Medical Colleges says by 2034, the U.S. could see a shortage of up to 48,000 primary care physicians and 77,000 non-primary care physicians, which includes surgeons, cardiologists, and emergency physicians.
Are there qualified doctors in the United States right now who could help with patients and patient care, but can't because they were trained in a foreign country?
Yes, worldwide, we have a doctor shortage. We have a doctor shortage here, for sure. And having these doctors, we're missing out on talent and bringing care to our patients.
Dr. Michelle Bolad is part of a program at UCLA for International Medical Graduates, or IMGs. The pre-residency training program helps them navigate the complex steps in becoming a doctor, like completing their U.S. medical license exams and applying for the National Resident Match program. Once graduated, they must work in underserved communities in the state for at least 3 years. Since it began in 2007, 175 people have graduated and become doctors in the U.S.
So those 175 graduates, they would not have been able to practice medicine were it not for your program.
Correct.
But some doctors warn making it easier for foreign-trained doctors to practice in the U.S. can't mean lowering the standard of care.
Just a few wrong people getting through the system can be a real problem.
Dr. William Pinsky is the past CEO of InThealth, a group that certifies internationally trained doctors, making sure they're qualified to work in medicine.
We need to have access to quality healthcare in this country. And so we don't want to unduly restrict or limit qualified physicians. On the other hand, we have to assure that they are who they are and have the background to treat.
Dr. Pinsky says InThealth gets roughly 20,000 inquiries a year from med school graduates outside of North America, but they still need to go through residency and get their medical license. And in many states, that process takes years no matter their qualifications. It can be enough to make those hopeful of becoming a doctor in the U.S. give up and instead take jobs they're overqualified for.
We had estimated there was anywhere between 400 to 2,000 individuals living legally in the United States that were doing all kinds of odd jobs.
Odd jobs like driving trucks and working in a warehouse. That's what Bilal is doing.
Do you feel overqualified for the job you're doing now?
Yes. My dream was like finished when I wanted to become a doctor, so if it's not possible, so I have to find a way in life.
While Bilal couldn't find a way to medicine, he hopes others like him can, filling a need on both sides.
The MIRA Coalition has backed legislation in Massachusetts to make a simpler pathway to becoming a doctor in the U.S. The bill would allow qualified doctors from other countries to practice medicine in the state under a mentorship program, and they wouldn't be expected to repeat post-clinical graduate training. But each state has its own medical board, which experts say makes sweeping change across the country tricky.
Still ahead, one potential solution to the national doctor shortage: artificial intelligence. We examine ways it's already improving outcomes when it comes to patient care.
And these patients may have to wait 7-10 years for them to be available. Now they can participate in these programs and get the benefit of those drugs, and many times it's free.
Plus, a real-life doctor versus ChatGPT. Experts put the two to the test when it came to answering general medical questions. We reveal which one ended up on top.
You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime, streaming online. Get the app for Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. They're free to download.
The pandemic highlighted the vital roles of our healthcare workers.
But the CDC says it was also the source of severe burnout. In 2022, 46% of healthcare workers experienced burnout, and 44% plan to look for a new job. As the healthcare industry faces burnout and a critical doctor shortage, hospitals and clinics are turning to artificial intelligence.
They tell us the hope for this technology is to ease workloads for physicians and to improve patient care.
It just helps to give me another option.
While Sharice Chambers plans for her wedding, she's also planning ahead for her future family by freezing her eggs through in vitro fertilization, or IVF.
You want to go to that practice that is thinking outside of the box. I think AI is just one of those ways that we can do that.
She sought out Dr. Corrine Frew.
If you can select the best sperm to then inject into each mature egg, that equals higher fertilization rates.
Dr. Frew says AI does not replace an embryologist. It's a tool to help them do their jobs.
Hello there. How are we doing?
A sentiment this dentist echoes after he started using AI at his practice in Toledo, Ohio.
It's simply a tool. It's not telling us what to do. It's just giving us some guidelines. It's giving us a roadmap to say, hey, maybe you want to double check something. Maybe you want to look here a little further. We've got a pretty large cavity over here.
This machine is called Overjet. The tool, cleared by the FDA, provides exact measurements of decay and bone loss, clearly highlighting what the eye can miss.
A lot of times, things are really small that the human may not be able to detect, or sometimes the monitor on your screen may not have the correct contrast. And so what this tool does is it highlights those spots.
The x-rays are also color-coded, making it easier to show a patient what's happening in their mouth.
This tool is really to help kind of create better communication.
At Texas Tech University in Lubbock, artificial intelligence isn't just helping doctors' workloads. Burn surgeon Dr. John Griswold says it could be the answer for patients with the most serious diagnosis.
This particular program helps us look through all of the patients that we have and find patients that might benefit from some of the cutting-edge programs and clinical trials we have, cutting-edge drugs that they might need for their cancer or their heart failure.
Ordinarily, searching for the right patient means searching through paperwork, checking area clinics, and calling healthcare providers.
It's a very tedious process, and we know we're missing people who could benefit so much from many of these programs.
With HIPAA rules in place, a program called Deep 6 identifies patients who could benefit from new treatments.
Deep 6 AI will help us look within just a click of a button for patients who might be candidates so that we can approach them and see if they're interested.
Saving patients precious time.
And these patients may have to wait 7-10 years for them to be available. Now they can participate in these programs and get the benefit of those drugs, and many times it's free.
Whether it's fighting an aggressive disease or planning for the future, these doctors agree AI is a new tool that could have the power to revolutionize the medical field.
We think that this is the next thing that needs to happen, and the more efficiencies we can build into the system, the better.
In 2023, a team of researchers from the University of California, San Diego wanted to know if ChatGPT could answer the same questions you might ask your doctor. In a blind comparison using 195 random patient questions from social media, medical professionals compared doctors' answers to responses generated by AI. What they found? AI won in a landslide.
ChatGPT was nearly 4 times more likely to write a response that was good or very good in quality, and ChatGPT was 10 times more likely to write a response that was empathetic or very empathetic. And so for us, we believe this is a game changer for healthcare. Instead of doctors spending time worrying about verb-noun conjugation, they can start with a drafted message from ChatGPT or other AI assistant, and then refine that.
One of the researchers concluded, quote, while our study pitted ChatGPT against physicians, the ultimate solution isn't throwing your doctor out altogether. Harnessing ChatGPT is the answer for better and empathetic care.
Still ahead, this pepper isn't just hot.
Suffering unbelievably. I couldn't move.
It's a culinary fireball, how it could be the hottest in the world.
It's really a big deal, bigger than I ever thought it would be.
Plus, movement for the body and soul, how this exercise program is helping cancer survivors regain their strength. Our in-depth coverage continues. You can get connected to Investigate TV Plus on all social media platforms. For many people who receive a cancer diagnosis, the fight never ends.
After rounds of exhausting chemotherapy, many survivors take years to return to their normal strength.
Reporter Tess Raffles shows us how a program in Arizona is helping survivors heal physically and mentally.
It's probably one of the hardest things I've ever gone through, just the anxiety of wondering, like, when's the next shoe going to drop, or what's going to happen with my daughter if I'm not here anymore, and the constant worry.
Renee describes what it was like hearing the diagnosis of breast cancer. That was in 2021. She went on to have a double mastectomy, reconstruction, and radiation. She's in a much better place now, cancer-free. But the past 2 years have been a long journey. She really just wanted to feel better and feel stronger.
My big problem afterwards, when I was cleared to work out and it's just kind of being let out into the wild, was I didn't know what to do, but I knew I wanted to do something.
Renee heard about Pink Ribbon 360. It's a holistic, individualized exercise program that meets both the physical and emotional needs of breast cancer survivors. She met with founder Terry Friedland. An assessment led to a wellness plan catered just for Renee.
We work on increasing strength, posture, mobility, core stability, decreasing feelings of fear and anxiety, as well as pain and swelling.
Terry gets to know each client's needs and goals.
Oh, dang, I can feel that. Good.
Renee's session began with simple stretching, eventually using a combo of yoga, Pilates, bar, and rehab exercises.
Exercise doesn't have to be running 3 miles or lifting the biggest weight. Come in, start with gentle stretching. And if it's not here, it's wherever they are, maybe at home. Do some gentle stretching and feel good and powerful that you did that for yourself.
Your brain tells you that you can do it, but your body is definitely saying no. And I would have ended up hurting myself.
Push back into here. Good. Start off by inhaling and pushing out. Renee's been amazing. She comes and she gives it her all the whole time.
Terry created the Pink Ribbon 360 program when a friend of hers had breast cancer and couldn't find a breast cancer exercise and rehab specialist. She knows it's not just getting them physically stronger.
You look great.
But she's also giving these breast cancer warriors emotional support.
I feel honored that they trust in me to help them through this very traumatic journey that they go through. And they're going through it from the day of diagnosis all the way through their treatments and beyond.
I credit her with being able to get back to the gym, get back to regular life, have full use of my arm, and just be able to do the things that I was able to do prior to my diagnosis.
Experts say exercise and physical therapy are integral parts of breast cancer treatment and can reduce fatigue and improve strength and balance. They say it's important to remember each person is unique, and they advise you should work with your healthcare team if you have questions or concerns about exercising.
Still ahead on Investigate TV Plus, this farmer's product isn't for everyone.
It is brutal and it is painful.
In fact, it might not be for anyone.
They've gotten a lot hotter since we started.
We introduce you to the man who grew the world's hottest pepper.
You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime online. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel at Investigate TV. You can catch stories and full episodes. Americans eat a lot of peppers. The Agricultural Marketing Resource Center estimates in 2017, the average American ate more than 11 pounds of bell peppers. All peppers can be measured by their heat in Scoville units. The scale starts at 0 with bell peppers. Jalapenos measure at 2,000 to 8,000 Scoville units, and Carolina Reapers are at 1.4 to 2.2 million. The Carolina Reaper is known as the hottest pepper in the world.
A man in South Carolina says his new one is hotter, and he's got the hardware to prove it.
Reporter Ron Lee shows us why it's not for the faint of heart.
suffering unbelievably. I couldn't move.
Not quite the sales pitch one would expect to hear when looking to try a new product. More of a dire warning from a self-proclaimed mad scientist.
It is brutal and it is painful.
Ed Curry is the founder of the Puckerbutt Pepper Company in Fort Mill. He came up with the Carolina Reaper and now Pepper X. What he does makes his business truly live up to its name.
Hottest pepper in the world at 2.693 million Scoville heat units.
Scoville heat units are how heat in peppers is measured. Curry even has the hardware to prove the heat, grabbing the Guinness Book of World Records for the hottest pepper on the planet.
Women handle it a lot better than men. Men think they're dying. Women are like, oh yeah.
Curry bioengineers new pepper seeds until he perfects the recipe. In this case, it took him 13 years to create what he's calling Pepper X, and the secrecy around it has everybody on high alert. Ron Edwards is a farmer here and tells me they've caught plenty of people snooping around trying to get the secret of Pepper X.
It's really a big deal, bigger than I ever thought it would be.
Curry says the secret is really about cross-pollination, finding out what works and what doesn't.
They've gotten a lot hotter since we started.
But for those who think they can handle the heat of the raw pepper, a warning from somebody who knows firsthand.
And I don't recommend that anybody try this.
You see, I don't need to suffer when I'm eating my food, and I hear it's actually hot twice.
Twice? Which time's the worst?
When you eat it and when you get rid of it.
Thank you for that. Hey, that's why you just don't eat that.
Don't eat the pepper.
It's not worth it. No.
Don't eat the pepper.
No.
Well, that's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Tisha Powell.
She definitely is today. I'm Lee Zurich. Thanks for watching.
On the next Investigate TV Plus.
On that day, part of the man that I married died.
An innocent hostage shot by police and living with the scars. We take an in-depth look at why the courts say the police officers who shot him don't owe him a dime.